Well, we now have the IEBC Commissioner Mohamed Alawi, who was also the part of the tribunal that was resolving the Makueni Senate by-election controversy. Thank you very much for making time for us.
Thank you.
I'll start by asking you what court has been saying today. They want IEBC disbanded, and critics saying IEBC is colluding with other political parties to have the popular candidate for Makueni Senate locked out.
I think what is very clear here is that our committee allowed the complainant and the accused to lay evidence before it, and that evidence was sifted through and for all to see, and the decision was made based on the fidelity to the law, based on the facts that were presented before us. So for us, we acted independently, and the fact that we acted independently, we arrived at the decision that we had arrived based on the facts, evidence, and the law that was before us. So we are confident that we did the right thing, and that we stand, if IEBC is to be disbanded for following the law, I don't think then there'll be any other commission that will remain. So I believe that what we did was the right thing to do, and we stand by the decision that the committee made.
You're talking about independence, about both parties being given room to present their evidence, but then some are asking, should IEBC, the tribunal now, have presided over this? After all, it's about faulty registration regarding the IEBC. IEBC is at fault here, that IEBC is the one to determine and investigate whether it's at fault.
Actually, this is a very interesting way of shifting the focus from IEBC, from the person who has been accused of fraudulently registering herself to the commission. But let's go back. Should IEBC presided over this?
Yes.
Yes, IEBC should, because this is a constitutional mandate given to the IEBC by dint of Article 88(4)(e), that IEBC has the power to determine any dispute arising of nomination before the election. And the IEBC rightly exercise that jurisdiction. And this is a constitutional given jurisdiction.
Although IEBC itself was a trial. A layman may look at it that way.
Okay, a layman may look at it that way, but for people who are in the know and informed and who are playing in the political arena, they realize that this committee sits as an independent committee, looking at the decisions of the nomination which are presided by the returning officer. The returning officer, is a special office created by the electoral law, and he enjoys certain specific responsibility and autonomy. And the same law gives IEBC sanctions against the returning officer, and this has been the tradition of the Commonwealth. The returning officer is always independent of the commission.
We're talking about somebody who has said they registered. Of course, you found out, with all due respect to the ruling, that she's not duly registered. You're talking about somebody who said she's registered, presented an acknowledgement slip, which can only be gotten from the IEBC. That is why we're saying, or people are saying, IEBC was a trial. So should IEBC, the tribunal, have been the one to preside over this?
If I may quote the words, she say, I'm the one who's on trial here, I'm not IEBC.
Do you think, you don't think IEBC
I don't think IEBC is on trial. I think this is trying to drag IEBC into it. The fact that a person can be found with a slip, an acknowledgement slip, which has been given or issued irregularly. The fact that the person could not pinpoint where that person was registered. The fact that the person admitted that he never or she never checked her registration status. The fact that the name did not appear in any of the register. And IEBC, the committee, did look at all those evidence and arrive at a verdict that is reasonable and justice. And you cannot now turn it back and say it's IEBC. I think the torch should remain where it should remain.
What is IEBC doing about this? Because you're saying it was issued irregularly.
Yes.
Obviously by an IEBC official.
Probably, yes. Probably.
So what is IEBC doing about it?
We have already written to the director of Criminal Investigation Department to conduct a probe into this matter. Yes.
And you're waiting for...
And we have written to them, and we hope that they will be able to take up the matter and conduct a thorough investigation into the affairs.
What do you have to say about the anomalies that came into fore during the hearing regarding people who had problems with registration? Just like Kathy alleges hers is.
Allegations were many. including that the boxes have been interfered with the NSIS, they remain allegations.
Let's focus on registration.
Yeah. Let's focus on what was the case before the
tribunal.
The tribunal.
Yes.
The case before the tribunal was somebody alleged to have presented an acknowledgement slip that could not tally with the serialization. It could not tally with the way the electors' numbers are processed. It could not be seen anywhere in the register. The fact that somebody registered using invalid document, saying I registered using a photocopy of an ID card.
But again, issued with a nomination certificate by an IBC returning officer.
And again, the nomination certificate, which the acknowledgement slip, which has been taken away from the IBC warehouses irregularly, not issued by an IBC officer. It was not issued at the registration center.
I'm talking about the nomination certificate.
Oh, the nomination certificate. If you go back to the nomination certificate, the returning officer, as I told you earlier, he's an officer who is being given specific power, and he enjoys some autonomy. He gave them the certificate on the hope, on the prima facie, looking at the document on the face of it, believing that it could be a genuine document. But on further investigation by the committee, where we had looked at all the register, we had even gone beyond looking at the biometric register, but looking at the green books for that station, and the name appeared nowhere. And this was seen by the members of the public. This was seen by everyone who was keen enough or following the process. So there was no other way the tribunal could have arrived at a different decision than the one we had arrived.
For those questioning the capability of IEBC, are we saying if Jubilee or the complainants to this case never raised a dispute with the IEBC Dispute Resolution Commission, then somebody who may have not registered could have gotten away with it without IEBC knowing?
No.
How?
How?
Because she was issued. Let's go, because they're saying they will appeal, but with all due respect to your ruling, you have said she did not register as a voter.
Yes.
So, if this was not brought before the Dispute Resolution Committee, she was given the nomination certificate after all by IEBC.
If you remember what the returning officer's submissions were, that he issued the nomination certificate, hoping and believing that her name could have appeared in the
Green Book.
In the Green Book.
But hoping and believing that somebody will raise a dispute.
Yes, and
so if somebody didn't raise a dispute, maybe she would have gotten away with it.
I think that's some would question. The dispute was raised, and we acted on it.
So if it wasn't raised, it would have been something different.
I look at it this way, that we cannot go into the if, because what has happened has already happened, and certain actions have been taken. So we cannot say if. We're not in the if game here. It happened, the matter came before us, and we made a ruling on it. Yes.
For the quarters, and maybe some Kenyans were saying they may have a problem with confidence with the IEBC, what do you have to say to them?
Well, look at it this way. You are not going to judge an institution based on a case which they have determined following the law.
Based on the anomalies they saw that came to the fore, you have accepted as well. It was also raised during the Supreme Court hearing, the election petition. Let me make the point.
Yeah.
It was made during the election petition. The Supreme Court, of course, found out there were problems, but not major to cause the election to be overturned, the presidential election. But there were problems. And now we've seen also problems coming into force as regards to registration.
If you look at the ruling of the Supreme Court, it went ahead and held that the elections were free and fair, and that the IEBC conducted itself within its capability. And there can never be a process without challenges. They can never. Everywhere you go in the world, there is no country which conducts an election where there are no challenges. Challenges are always there, and they are faced and they're surmounted. Yeah. So you cannot judge IEBC based on a ruling it has made on the heat of an election, of a by-election, and say, oh, we have no confidence. So this is trying to drag IEBC into an affair which should not have been dragged. The confidence of IEBC should be judged on the parameters of the work that we do. We have done the registration of 14.3 million in 30 days. We have organized and conducted one of the biggest elections, a very complex election, in a period of less than 15 months.
So finally on that election you're talking about, when in law was IEBC supposed to publish officially the results of that election?
Which election are you referring to?
The general election.
We have complied with the law in publication of the results. We have gazetted the names. What is being confused now here are the numbers that are needed to allow the political parties to enjoy the finances.
Okay.
Yes, but the results have been published. They have been gazetted. The senators are in Senate, the members of Parliament in Parliament, the members of the county governments, and that has been done according to the law. We have complied with the law word for word. What is required is over and above that. And this is only required for the purposes of political parties sharing the monies under the Political Party Act.
So you're okay with that?
We are very comfortable with that.
Okay, finally then, we gather that Safaricom is pulling out of the system of transmitting results, giving you a platform. And we have the Makueni by-election coming in about 2 weeks' time.
Watch this space.
How are you going to handle
No,
it?
Safaricom, our service provider,
Yeah.
we value them. And as our partners in business, sometimes we can disagree and agree, but we are still in very close consultation with Safaricom on how to do it. We are also considering other alternatives. But we can give a promise and undertaking that we shall deliver Makueni election as we did other elections.
With the
With everything that needs to be done. We are working on it.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you very much. Mohammed Alawi, Commissioner, IBC, thank you very much for making time for us. And Ramadan Kareem, by the way.
Same to you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Most welcome.
Janet, it's back to you.
Glance is telling me so many things, but I can't understand them. But don't you worry, Father. Nothing wrong is going to happen to you in my place. I promise you, Father. That is my promise to you.
Divina tú, divino el aire que te envuelve como un tul y va bordando entre tu pelo la virtud. Ser un sueño que me abraza.